to the Island of Misfit Toy Collectors. Dreadnought Ryan here, and I wanted to talk to you today about what we can expect from the Hasbro Pulse fan stream for G.I. Joe, which is slated for March 8th. This particular fan stream was moved from February 14th to March 8th, and I just kind of wanted to cover what we can expect to see, what possible pre-orders could be out there, and then also what product reveals we might get, whether it's digital renders or possibly even where the G.I. Joe comic might actually end up. I know I was wrong with thinking it would end up in the last video, and to find out they were just going to basically try to sell an off-brand of Joe was a little bit disappointing. But I know Larry is working on issue 303, so hopefully we'll find out which publisher will get to carry the new G.I. Joe comic and where we can expect to be able to find it. But let's really talk about the G.I. Joe classified figures and what we can expect for the March 8th fan stream. At PulseCon 2022, these particular 5 figures were revealed with digital renders. So Shipwreck, Torpedo, Copperhead, Rock and Roll, and Bazooka. So I would expect for us to see these in the actual physical product form for this particular live stream. And then hopefully they will be available for pre-order soon after. I'm excited to get Shipwreck. Of course, Torpedo was one of the first Joe figures that I ever owned. You know, Copperhead is just an amazing figure. I really loved that particular figure. He was a bigger buck back in the Real American Hero days, so he kind of towered over some of the other figures. Plus, with the water moccasin, it was just an amazing toy. Rock and Roll, which is a nice mix of the OG 13 and the version 2. And then, of course, Bazooka in his OG Real American Hero colors is just another figure that I'm going to want to make sure I add to my collection. It will also be nice to see what these figures will look like. I know with Torpedo, there is an absolute ton of accessories that were going to be included with him. I want to see what Shipwreck looks like with the swappable hair, what Polly will look like with his accessories. And then, of course, Rock and Roll, I want to see what that size of that particular buck will look like. I'm going to guess that Copperhead is going to be on the bigger side as well, a little bit more muscly, if you would, just to kind of be a big, bulkier figure, maybe the size of Crocmaster. But more to find out on March 8th. Hopefully we'll be able to pre-order these particular figures after that event. As far as deluxe figures go, I know the 1027 event, we did get the digital renders for Big Ben and the Cobra Trooper 2-pack for the female Cobra Troopers. And then, of course, you know, the G.I. Joe team just drops the renders for, you know, Scrap Iron, Snow Job, the Telly Viper with Trouble Bubble, and then, of course, Steel Corpse. I don't know if we will see any of these particular figures in production form, but I hope we'll get an update on when we can be able to order some of these. If you look at when they were announced to now, I would assume we might get an update for Big Ben, possibly in a production sample, maybe the Cobra female troopers. But as far as the other 4, I am not sure. I think we'll get some clarity, though, once we do have that fan stream. And hopefully Lenny and Emily will be able to let us know what to expect, when we'll be able to see the production samples of these particular figures, and when we'll be able to order them as well, too. Here are the outstanding classified series pipeline reveals so far for 2023. Again, we still have Tunnel Rat, Grunt, Ripper, the updated to the Firefly to look more vintage, Lowlight, Range Viper, Hawk, Tripwire, the Snow Serpent, Buzzer, Chuckles, and of course Shadow Tracker. I did not include in this particular list, though, the Mole Rats, which hopefully we'll get some more clarification around that particular figure, as that is a new figure. And then, of course, they did give us, I believe, Agent Helix was another figure that they had did a name-only reveal as well, too. So thank you to His Tank for this particular list of the 2023 classified series pipeline reveals. And what to expect. So as many of us have been getting in the last wave of G.I. Joe classified figures with Falcon, CoverGirl, the Crimson Bat, Outback and barbecue from the Mad Marauders. For us here in the States, the Walmart Retro Card, Snake Eyes Crimson Guard, Storm Shadow, and of course Zartan should be hitting stores hopefully soon. I know some of our friends across the pond have started seeing these hit stores or through their online channels that they had ordered these particular figures from. So hopefully that means we'll get to see these lovely figures as they hit shelves here in the States. I know for the retro cards themselves, they've been a bit of a letdown. They are too thin. They don't hold up very well. And considering that these particular figures do come with figure stands, it's kind of a little bit of a letdown that Hasbro didn't go with a little bit of a higher quality card for these figures, as they do look great on your shelf or hanging up on the wall. I am particularly excited for this version of Snake Eyes. It's my OG Snake Eyes, and I think this particular figure buck just lends nicely to custom. The Crimson Guard with the silver and the red backpack, I think will be great. It will add possibility of a leader for your Crimson Guard. And then, of course, the Sunbow inspired Zartan with the blue chest plate is just always an easy buy for me. It's Zartan, you know. And Storm Shadow's the same way with the ungloved hands, more of a vintage style feel to this particular Storm Shadow. So we should be seeing these really soon. And I'm also hoping we get an update on when we can expect to see the Haslab His Tank. I know there were a number of issues with QC or quality control issues for the G.I. Joe Haslab Sky Striker. And I hope that Hasbro is really working with the factory to eliminate a lot of those issues for this particular item. Fans spend a lot of money on these particular Haslabs. They are a high quality dream type item, and especially with the Sky Striker, when you're spending $229 for an F-14 plane, which we were able to pick up in the modern for like $30 new. You expect the QC issues to be addressed and not make it to customers. I understand there could be creases in cards. There's missing parts from time to time, but there was just a number of small QC issues that should have been addressed before those items even made it to consumers' hands. So this will go especially important for Hasbro to make sure that they get this His Tank right as well. I don't think they can afford to have two bad experiences for consumers with just QC issues. So hopefully they get this addressed with the factory, and that we don't run into these same problems with the G.I. Joe His Tank. And to end the video, I want to do Community Spotlight. I want to talk about my good friend Phil from Treasures for Triggers. This gentleman is an absolute legend. As some of you may or may not know, we did a Streamathon episode which brought a number of YouTube shows together to celebrate Christmas, and we did pick Secret Santas. I was Phil's Secret Santa, so I sent my good friend the Kiwi in Japan a couple of custom G.I. Joe classified figures that I had made. They were the first classified figures that he actually had. Apparently, there's an issue of getting some of the classified figures in Japan. Go figure, right? But Phil was nice enough to then give me his Japanese version of the G.I. Joe Polar Battle Bear. And since I've now hooked him on the G.I. Joe Classified series, he was nice enough to get me back into O-Ring. So once I received the Polar Battle Bear, I had to go out and get a vintage snow job for it. So I had done something that I hadn't done in a number of years, and that is pick up a G.I. Joe O-Ring figure. So I was able to get this particular snow job off of eBay for a good price. So I was comfortable paying that. But this, the Polar Battle Bear and snow job now sit on my desk, and I just absolutely adore it. And knowing that it came from a friend it is just even better. He also had gifted me a couple different packages of Japanese candy, as well as some G.I. Joe. They are miniature 1/6 scale G.I. Joe vintage figures. They come with little boxes with their accessories, but they are just absolutely amazing little toys. Again, in from Japan, something that I had never seen before. So all of these items now sit in a place of honor in my collection because they did come from a very good friend. So if you guys will go drop a line to Phil at Treasures for Triggers. I'm going to put his show link in the description. Go give him a sub. Go watch some of his videos. He just got back from New Zealand where he was going through some of the toy hauls that he was able to acquire and send to his parents' house. But he had scored a GI Joe collection that was just absolutely amazing. So, but go over and check him out. He is an absolute gem, a beautiful person. Um, it's folks like him that make me want to do this channel. Um, I think it's important for a YouTube, I don't want to call it a personality or just content, a YouTube channel. Let's just call it that. My channel mission statement is simple. I want to celebrate the G.I. Joe brand, and I want to celebrate the people in this community that make it great. I have made some friends from all over the world that, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, I wouldn't have thought was possible. But I have met some of the most amazing, generous, kind, loving people that you could ever wish to have in your life. From all over the world. They are absolute legends. They're some of my best friends. And for many of us, we've only met digitally. But it's because of these great people that make this community what it is. It's because of all of you here at the Island of Misfit Toys that make me want to continue to do this channel. So I'm going to keep doing it. We're going to keep knocking it out of the park the best that we can. And I would love to hear what you guys think of what we can expect from this next G.I. Joe Hasbro Pulse fan stream. Maybe we'll get some more updates on O-Ring, maybe some of the Haya toys, Super 7, Mezco. Just get some more updates on this amazing brand. Again, like I said, I've fallen in love with this brand. My dad and my uncles, collected the 1/6 scale G.I. Joe as my grandfather was in the 101st Airborne. I fell in love with those figures when I would go over to my grandparents' house and get to play with them. And then when the Real American Hero line hit in 82 and 83 and so on, it just became an important part of my life. I remember running home after school because the Joe cartoon came on after school in the area that I lived in Monday through Friday. And it didn't matter if I'd watched that episode once or 1,000 times. It was always a must-see. This brand has meant so much to me, and meeting a lot of the great people I have has been part of that. So thank you again for all of your support. I hope all of you have a great day and a great evening, great morning, wherever you're at on the Island of Misfit Toy Collectors. You are all legends, and more importantly, Yo Joe.